I have a few very profound memories of the LSAP program and the National Science Foundation and their alliance as it relates to my father, the late Congressman Lou Stokes. The very first one was a few years back at the Gaylord Hotel on National Harbor. They honored my father, and I remember him talking about the importance of education and making sure that young people have access to science, technology, engineering, and math. That was a very impressive dinner.
My brother Carl and I grew up in public housing. Our mother, who had only an 8th grade education, was widowed when I was 3 years old, so she became a domestic worker. But her greatest dream was that her 2 boys get a high school diploma. I represented one of the poorest inner cities in America, so I concentrated on health care, I concentrated on education, I concentrated on labor. I tried to utilize my position in the Congress to change those conditions in our cities.
I talked to the president, and they talked about how much it meant to them for him to fight during his years in Congress to make sure that this program went from coast to coast, east to west, north to south.
I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to be here with you today on this special occasion. Congratulations to the Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation on its 30th anniversary. One of my father's favorite expressions was aim high. Many of you know that because you actually have remembered that in a very special way.
Many of the people in my congressional district got their health care in emergency rooms and the hospitals in the center of the city. I wanted to do something about that.
A couple memories of my grandfather, the late Congressman Lewis Stokes, involving LSAM. When I was a student, not too long ago, at Case Western Reserve University, it must have been about 2005, but my grandfather was also a professor there, a visiting professor there at the school at that time. And oftentimes he'd pick me up from my dorm. We'd go and grab dinner and so forth and really just hang out. Something that I often would do is study at my grandfather's house as well. So I'm wearing the LSAM t-shirt, and I guess I'm studying for a little while, and my granddad, he was the hardest working person I knew, so I'm sure he was working as well. But at one point in time, he comes over to the desk that I'm studying at wearing the LSAM t-shirt, and I just see his finger hit the table. And I guess he could tell I wasn't as focused at that point in time as I should have been. It really just showed me he was such a stickler for education. He knew the transformational power an education could give.
He would tell young people, be better than Lewis Stokes. Aim high. Here he was, an accomplished civil rights attorney and one of the cardinals at the U.S. Congress. However, he was telling young people to be better than him, and he believed that every person had the potential to do great things.
I hope others can look at my accomplishments and say, I too could do that.
If you keep the alliance between LSAP and the National Science Foundation going forward for years to come, there will be no better way to keep my father's legacy going and to honor all of the things that he was committed to.